Why the frick is my chat slightly messed up? How dare it? I am so quiet. I'm hearing myself for like the first time ever. Do I need to speak up like this? Is this better? I don't know why. I have like my own stream on in the background and I can hear myself. And it's so weird to me. No, not 16 seconds late. No, I was here. I started on time. I did my YouTube live stream. I am setting up information. Light the beacon! With the bacon, sorry. My mistake. I heard it's time to be a virtue. It is. I'm currently setting that up. Does anyone want to know? Does anyone want to know what I was doing for the last half hour? You're not allowed to judge me. Gosh, I'm so busy this weekend. I was writing the script for the girlfriend video that's supposed to be released in 48 hours. I have most of it written and a lot of it recorded, but some of it is not done yet. Are you telling me a crab ran this good? Okay, why? Okay. How many people here know about Girlframe? Because every time I mention Girlframe, always one person is like, Girlframe? Hello? Girlframe? And I'm just like, am I the only one that didn't know about this until someone brought it to my attention? Anyway, so my weekend, oh gosh, I have streamed today, I stream tomorrow, I have a thing not related to content, I have another thing not related to content, I have this long form video for Sunday, I have a session, which again is not related to content. Oh frick, I don't want to go to the place this weekend, but I'm probably gonna be too busy for that. I am gonna be so busy. This weekend, like this is actually gonna be like a 2-hour stream. Promise, cross my heart, hope to die. Right? I cannot afford to have like a 4-hour stream today. I am going to be too busy. It's Yuri Mecha, of course your chat knows it. You know what? Maybe that one's on me. Maybe that was my own preconceived biases that meant that I was unaware of that. Hello. Oh, sorry. Let me get this book out of the way. Yeah. There. Hi. Hello. I'm currently in my uniform because with the Girlframe review, I'm reviewing it in a maid dress, so figured I'd just leave it on. I know, because we've been talking about this video for 6 months. I'll have you know, I've been talking about this video since at least October, because I just looked in my email to get a quote from when I was talking with the dev when I first reached out, or when she first reached out to me. And that was in October. So it's not been 6 months, it's been like at least 8 months, and I think the video went live like 9 or 10 months ago. Famous Russian astronaut Yuri Mecha? Yes. I only know of Girlfriend video thanks to the fabled Girlfriend video. I'm so surprised that the Girlfriend video did so well. I don't expect the same success from this one. I will tell you right now. I have some spoilers, if you would like to hear them. The video coming in, my guess is like 20 to 30 minutes. I have a section that is going to be devoted to clips from my initial reaction, which is going to be a compilation of me being flashbanged by 18 plus content in this game. For YouTube friendly, of course, but it's going to just be a compilation of me just like not being on the same wavelength as this system. And it's mostly me giving an overview of the system and then there's like a 7-minute rant about the NSFW stuff in it. So if you're what you're here for is to hear Arrow get all blushy and embarrassed and like in my own head, not gonna happen. I'm treating this like anything else. I'm treating it like a TTRPG review because it is a TTRPG. I'm not treating it no different. However, I will be ranting. I recommend a game called Puppy Mancer to you because dog. Okay, so someone suggested Puppy Geist. And I was really concerned for a second about what that might mean. However, what it ended up being is this is a different system. It's not the same system, but like it is a separate system. Don't worry about the virtues. I did not do a lot of mining off stream this time. I have not had the time. So like, look at this. Look at the little puppies! Look at them! It's a rhythm game where you play with puppies! I love dogs! They're so cute! Look at them! Oh my god. So if you want to... one of the games is petting the dog! Okay, I'm done with this. I can't do this. I physically am not in the mental state where I can like mentally handle looking at dogs right now. No, I recommend Puppy Geist. I'm walking and typing. It was recommended Puppy Geist. Okay, I got it. Perfect. Draw perfect, but you have a girlfriend handler. Oh my gosh. So, Arrow, please consider not doing a short on Sunday so you don't exhaust shit. No, so I'm not doing a short on Sunday. My long form is coming out Sunday. Frick, I need to do tomorrow's short. Criminy. Beans. It's a voiceover, which should be easy. I'm so screwed. Okay, I'm fine. Your brain is numb from thinking about stuff you need done, so I reach for utter confusion, a half horrid, half morbidly case state enter your brain when talking about CAIN. Nice. So, you pull out your long form during the weekend? Is that a euphemism that I should be aware of? So, if you're new here, hi, I'm Arrow. I talk TTRPGs, I talk VTubing, I talk writing, and we do two things here. One, I have a Q&A channel where if you have a question you want to ask that is not directly relevant to the stream, you can throw it in there, and I will get to it by the end of stream. Today's stream gonna be fairly short. I want to be like in, out, talk about virtues, write some lore, maybe write a couple mechanics, get out, be gone, thought, right? Today's a grind. Today I'm gonna be grinding. Second thing, if you are giving me your attention by coming on in and saying hello and like watching the channel, I want to give you attention. Whether you're a lurker, whether you're a VOD watcher, whether you're an active participant in chat right now, drop a hi. I'll say hi back. I like to shout out viewers because I think that that's cool and nice. My D&D 5e brain is still trying to calculate how it can put initiative turn-based fighting and stats into CAIN. Depresso, just don't. There's already initiative. There's already turn-based fighting. There's already a system of like dealing slashes to execution talismans. Like there's already a combat system set up. And genuinely, I'm of the take, and I say this as someone that on Wednesday just went through like for 3 hours my D&D homebrew that I made back like years ago. D&D combat sucks. D&D initiative sucks. You should not be, like, I will say this pretty blanketly, you should not be trying to add that into other systems. D&D combat is perhaps one of the worst combat systems I have ever encountered in a TTRPG. Now, I am of the opinion that something like 40k as a war game is a worse combat system. Because 40k takes so much more time, is so much more swingy, and is so much less reliant on skill and more reliant on luck because it's a war game. But D&D may be the single worst combat system I have ever encountered in a TTRPG. Hi Emac and Namer and NB and Beluga and DP and Original and Pyro and Clam and Skeleton and Patch and Some Dude and Depresso and Sinky Togudamaru and Man with a Chainsaw and Maximilian and Depresso and Real Robot and I think I got everyone who said hi. Welcome in. Hi. Hi Licorice. Does Girlframe have a better combat system? Yes. Okay. I'm whipping out the MS Paint. I already had this one prepped this time because I'm a god. Girlframe, its combat system is Powered by the Apocalypse. Now, before you leave, before you boo, before you pitchforks, Powered by the Apocalypse is not bad. It is just overused. I'm not going to pretend like Powered by the Apocalypse is not overused. Girlframe's combat system is effectively, you have X assets. At character creation, it's usually going to be 4. It is going to be 2 girl assets, and it's going to be 2 frame assets. Wait a second. Wait. Girl frame. Oh my gosh! Title drop! Okay, so you generally have 2 girl assets, 2 frame assets. When these are damaged, your mech is damaged, and then if all of your assets are damaged, then your core is exposed. When your core is exposed, you can be blown up, right? Same thing with Gorgons. Gorgons, the monsters you're fighting, have a number of assets, usually between like 3 and I think it's 8. It might be 3 and 6, where the handler, as a GM, will say, okay, these 1 to 2 assets need to be destroyed before you can go for its core, and you need to do X. What is X? X might be, it needs to be pinned to the floor. X might be, it's on the other side of a field, of a minefield, and you need to be like right up behind it. X might be, you need to flirt with it. X might be, you need to shine bright lights on it so that it doesn't cast a shadow. Whatever X is, you have to destroy 2 of its specific assets. So for instance, maybe it has an asset where just like, in the script that I'm writing for the video, I use the example of a Gorgon that has a chitin carapace, an illusory after image, an all-seeing eye, and 1,000 blades if it has 4 assets. You might only be able to kill it if you damage the chitin, you remove the asset that gives it the after image, and you shine infrared lasers into its eye, while also not letting its shadow touch anything biological. And then its core is exposed and you can kill it, right? So in Girlframe, at least on Frame v Gorgon combat, it's a puzzle. Where at the start of the combat or on deployment, the handler will say like, hey, this is a class 1 type doppelganger foe, like Gorgon. Like you need to destroy its regenerative cells asset as well as its electronetting asset. And you need to submerge it fully underwater that is boiling. And it's just like, what the frick? What the heck? And so like it's tearing up downtown, and you have to figure out how to remove its regenerating cells, its electro diffusion like undercarriage, and then you need to find a big enough pool of water to submerge it under, and then start boiling it, and like that will expose its core, and then you can kill it. And so it's way more of a puzzle, and it's a lot more freeform because it's Powered by the Apocalypse, right? The Consume pilot above me. Hello, had to join stream for a second device to say it. Hello, Mono. This is perfect timing for me. One of the exorcists in my recent campaign announced their goal of becoming a virtue. Awesome. When girls are assets, you know it's exploitation. Oh my gosh. The most miserable time I had as a GM was playing Mage the Ascension with its wishy-washy system of magic. At some point, I just wanted to leave. I need rules. Okay. I am someone who, when I first was starting, I love improv. I always have. I've always been big on improv. I've always been big on just like, hey, where the die lies, let's run it. I wanted a very comprehensive rule set that I could then jump off of, right? When I first started playing and running, mostly running, I wanted really comprehensive rules that were unambiguous and like I wanted 3.5, right? And I technically speaking, 3.5 was my first system. Growing up, 3.5 was my first system, and it was way too complicated for me. And then I think I may have played like a game of 4E just based on timetables. I thought it was 5E, but like this was back in like 2009, 2010. So it had to have been 4E, right? Unless I'm mixing up timetables and it was actually like 2014. But I'm pretty certain it can't have been later than like a couple years before 5E. And I just don't remember the session well enough. But like I grew up on 3.5. That's what got me into it. And so I think that might be part of why I really wanted this like core rule set that is really comprehensive, explains anything. If I have a question, I can consult the rules and there's an answer. And so in the 9 out of 10 cases, I can just say what I want. But in the 1 out of 10 cases where I want to look something up, I don't need to come up with an answer. I can just check. I don't want to have to figure out, so wait, if you have a strength score of 16 and you're wearing chainmail and you have 20 pounds of gold in your pack and you're trying to grapple this thing, is that enough to give you disadvantage on the roll? And then like I can just look that up. I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want bookkeeping, which oddly enough, that is bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is looking up the actual real rules and like checking with the dictionary. Since then, I'm way more comfortable now. Just full sending it, just running with it, just kind of taking a rule set where it's just like, hey, you have to roll 1d6 on a 4 up. You get X. On a 3 minus, you get Y. Everything is either X or Y. Go wild. And I'm like, yeah, I can work with this. Honey heist. I can work with that. Lasers and feelings. Everyone is John. 1-page TTRPGs. I can work with that. I don't need a comprehensive rulebook that explains everything. Plays by by the Apocalypse, whether in Girl Frame or in Perfect Draw or City of Mist. These are all things where they're pretty ambiguous. And like, for instance, in City of Mist, go toe to toe. What does it mean to go toe to toe with someone? Actually, a lot of things. It doesn't just mean like fighting them. It also means arguing with them. It also means like having a back and forth in whatever metric that is, a academic competition, a spy versus spy style. We're both ducking behind cover, trying to like surveil one another without being noticed. That encompasses punching each other. That might encompass trying to one up each other in a competition. So like the move, the play, go toe to toe, encompasses way more than making an athletics check in D&D, making an attack roll in Lancer. And I like that because that means as a player, you can say, oh, okay, I really want to go toe to toe with this person. How can I make it so that I'm not trying to like one hit them, but it's more of like a drawn out fight because I have more ability to go toe to toe than I do to hit him with everything you got, right? Mage, I can do X. Storyteller either says yes or no. Mage rolls R safe and asks if it's enough, or rolls Aret and asks if it's enough. Storyteller decides if it's enough or not. Yeah, and like Mage in particular sounds really stressful for everyone involved, particularly because there's no like M5. M5 streamlines everything. M5 quote unquote dumbs it down. But like, I don't know. I like modern disciplines. I like blood potency and hunger level and hunger dice. I don't know how much I would enjoy blood points, right? I played Bloodlines, or at least most of Bloodlines, and blood pools and points is like basically just a mana system that's colored red instead of blue. Like it was fine, but it can get kind of noodly. And I feel like hunger system, rouse checks, very beautiful system. I love it. Honestly, like, I genuinely really love rouse checks. It very much encourages you to push your luck. And I imagine Mage is very noodly. I imagine Mage, outside of just being inherently ephemeral, because it's not modernized, the closest is V20. It's very noodly. Darn Unk. Oh my gosh. There are things I don't like about Powered by the Apocalypse. I don't know what everyone's beef is with Powered by the Apocalypse. When I first heard about it, I was like, hey, this seems cool. And then I played City of Mist, which is Powered by the Apocalypse. I'm like, this is cool. And then I read Perfect Draw. And then I was like, this is cool. Or no, I didn't. I learned about Perfect Draw, sorry. And then I read Girl Frame, and then I was like, this is cool. And then I'm like, yeah, Power by the Apocalypse, it's cool. Everyone I've said it to has been like, ew, Power by the Apocalypse. And I'm like, why? And almost always it's just, they're all the same game. It's all just 2d6. I'm like, yeah. Does that mean that like Lancer and D&D are the same game because they both use a d20? Or Lancer and Pathfinder are the same game because they both use a d20 and have a fantasy aesthetic? Like, no. Mage is the one that can do 1 billion damage when dying. No, so Mage is the one that can do literally anything. And you need rules to accommodate doing literally anything. And when I say literally anything, you're thinking, no. More. Not whatever you're thinking. Not the bounds of your imagination. More. Bigger. Enhanced. Like, mages, the whole point of mage is that reality is not real. You are the one in the Matrix. Like genuinely. The Matrix. Take the Matrix. As a mage, you are Neo. You are the one. You break reality inside of it because you know it's not reality. And the reality police, Agent Smith, will chase after you if you break it too noticeably. And that is the big limiting factor. Is, does the storyteller say yes, and do the reality police come after you with a warrant? Right? Saying Powered by the Apocalypse forks are all the same is like saying Vampire the Masquerade and Changeling. Yeah, like the Storyteller Suite, I think, is a very elegant way of marrying together multiple disparate splats. Right? I love the fact that if I make a vampire in V5 and you make a werewolf in W5, we can play in the same game. And if I want to convince you of something, I can roll manipulation, persuasion, and you can roll wits insight. And we both know exactly what that means. We both can spend willpower, but then maybe I use a discipline on you, and maybe you use a gift on me. What the frick is a gift? Like, what do you mean you're rolling blood dice? Is that like my rage dice? No. My blood dice are different than your rage dice. Oh, messy crit. What do you mean messy crit? And then like you have this like what are you with each other? But you still know you're rolling the same dice pools. You have the same attributes. You have the same skills. You have the same stat arrays. I think that's really elegant, personally. I, from a game design perspective, really appreciate that. Now, I can see if you're the sort of person who really wants to feel different as a werewolf versus a vampire, you might be frustrated by this. I think for the sake of being able to play them in the same game, that is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. A big part of Power by the Apocalypse hate is the tangential grognard bigotry towards a system vaguely associated with queer theater kid vibes. Really? They call it when things are not defined in a system where you improve or use judgments or narrative the fruitful void. Hiya, new outfit. This isn't new. This is, I had this for Halloween. This is a maid dress. And because I'm in the midst of filming Girl Frame video, I figured I'd just leave it on. So, if you like arrow maids, I guess let me know and I'll wear it more often. I guess really the real defining factor is, which is my most iconic outfit? Is it with the jacket? Or is it with Sans jacket? We're in Alaska. CAIN session 1 tomorrow. Oh no. Everyone's going to Alaska in CAIN. Listen, like, Cell, when I was running for them with my CAIN game, they thought like K9 and Clapback were going to run off to Alaska. A bunch of players all said they're going to run off to Alaska. Or a lot of viewers said they're going to run off to Alaska when I described it to them. Like, you're heading off to Alaska. I've heard at least one other game, I'm pretty sure recently, that was going to Alaska. I think the more iconic one is Sans jacket. The one with teeth. What, you mean my vampire outfit? I think at this point it's Sans jacket shorts. So what I will say is that I, in my day-to-day, wear sans jacket. I think that my more iconic look is with jacket, right? I think that that's more distinct as a characterization, right? I think that with my jacket on, that pop of yellow and gold gives me more unique flair. But like, I have the vampire outfit, I have the Santa outfit, or the Christmas outfit, I have the maid outfit. I love being able to just like make outfits. And I don't know if anyone knows this. Please hold. Ah! I don't know if anyone knows this. With my Christmas outfit. Oh, I have my beachwear outfit. I forgot about that one. Did you know? Hi. let me hop over here real quick. Did you know that with my Christmas outfit? Hi. It's sooty. It's covered in coal dust. I don't know if anyone noticed that before, because I don't know if I ever gave you a good enough view of it, but it's like, this is actually like covered in coal dust on purpose. Why are we zoomed in? Don't worry about it. Chimney sweep. I'm not a chimney sweep. What do you want about? How dare you? This is your make outfit? What is your make outfit? You've been reading Dresden Files recently, and you know what little you heard of Mage the Ascension seems like it can be meshed without changes. I've heard great things about Dresden Files. I think the PNG Chibi one of you is pretty... Okay, that is pretty iconic, I will say. Chibi, like Gremlin me? Yeah. Powered by... Has made it incredibly simple to create your own story-focused, improv-heavy TTRPG world. This resulted in Campion Explosion, which is great, but they're all entirely narrative-focused. I wouldn't say they're all entirely narrative-focused. I would say that, in my experience, Powered by the Apocalypse systems tend to prioritize narrative over robust mechanical interactions, which leads to a lot of narrative-oriented systems, but does not mean it's slacking on mechanics. My first instinct, actually, oh no, goodbye. Sorry, I have to change real quick, and I'm not going to change it in front of you. What do you want about, creepy weirdo? What? Sorry, I had to swap out. Back to Arrowmaids. But yes, so I'm of the opinion that I think that my most iconic, distinct look is probably with the jacket. I would say that the one I do most common is sans jacket, just because that's what I wear normally. But like, if you want to see more, just let me know, I guess. I have other outfits. Did I get in through the chimney? I don't even have one. Arrow Santa or Arrow Cinderella? I feel like Arrow Claws, where if you've been good chatters, I'll come to you and I will give you TTRPG advice. And if you've been bad chatters, then I'll still give you TTRPG advice, but for being evil. Like, I just come forward to you. Not sans jacket, no. I just come forth every year when the witching hour is nigh on a Christmas night, and I impart unto thee TTRPG advice, and if you've been a good little chatter, then I tell you how to improve your game. And if you've been a bad chatter, a naughty chatter, I tell you how to ruin your game. Can Arrow Claws visit us on CAIN, miss? No. Good chatters get lead soda. Oh my gosh. Have you seen the new Games for Freaks Volume 4 stuff? I have not. I've seen the preview of the... What's it called? I've seen the preview of the XOs that Tom Bloom released, which apparently he has like 3 XOs, which are the most powerful in his entire setting, where they each have like a unique blasphemy. Yeah, like Mr. God. Yeah. Arrow, I disagree. I feel that. Proceeds to restate what I said. Shut up. Good chatters get lead poisoning. Exactly. If you've been good for me, I'll give you lead poisoning. Which, okay, I will say this. The other week, we were making a lot of jokes about ASMR roleplay. I do think it would be really funny for Pride Month to once per week make a video where, like, I start with the girlfriend very queer. Next week, I do one of these ASMR roleplay things where it's just me, like, It's just me doing a normal like affirmations roleplay. I just need to figure out what the gimmick is. Is it that we're in a war zone like we just got shipped out to World War III? Is it that there's a bunch of insects buzzing around us and they get progressively louder? Like, what is the joke is my question. Arrow claws lancering down the chimney? No! So say the most evil TTRPG advice, but the one that we will like. Well, so my most evil TTRPG advice is, it doesn't actually matter what your players are interested in. What matters is you telling a story you want to tell. Because remember, you're the GM. You control everything. So if you tell a story that you're interested in, your players will pick up on your excitement and they'll actually like follow you, much like sheep following a shepherd. So just if they say what their interests are, they will eventually come around. You just need to put it in front of them actively enough. And you need to shut down what they're trying to do because they're going to like go off course. They're not going to like, if they're doing other things, they won't be able to focus on your cool story. So you need to shut all that down and like have them show them the way of your cool story. Honestly, if you want to write a book, like just run a TTRPG instead and just put all of the characters in there and then let all of the NPCs do the cool stuff they would have done in the book, where it's basically like your players are an actual live audience, right? Like they're basically live beta readers, and I'm sure they'll appreciate that. So like it like just go ahead and do that. That'll fix your game in no time. ASMR, you're cascading the enemies at the Godhead. Wait. The Manticore doesn't have an NHP, does it? Okay. "60-second video. Not a short, long form. NHP confesses their feelings as you castigate." Are we thinking that that's like top tier? Or are we thinking that's trash? We're workshopping here. There's no stupid ideas in brainstorming. Players are just background extras in your world. Exactly. Like, listen, if you're a GM, you're the game master. It's your world. You made that. They should be honored to be privileged to see what you made. Give me a Technophile NHP too. Like, just like just like warning. Reactor critical, entering castigation state. Like it seals you in. It's just like, well, Lancer, looks like this is the end of the line. So, I know that we've been through a lot together and we're not going to be through a lot more, but I was just hoping that before the end I could, tell you something if you don't mind. I really appreciate you, and you've always been there for me. And it's just, I feel like we have some sort of connection. I see how your other pilots treat their NHPs, or I see how your other pilots treat their co-pilots, and you're just so much kinder to me and more gentle, and you listen to me and you spend time with me, and it makes me feel like that maybe. And cascading in 10, 9, 8. Lancer, I need you to know that I love, and then boom, it explodes. Like boom, cinema. Though I do actually believe that if you as a GM are excited for your game, your players will be excited too. Yes, but not to the extent, all that just for a clone. And then I can make it sad. And then I can have it like be like a white screen that like lingers for like 5 seconds. And then it comes back and it goes, "Hello, Lancer. Just like, hello, Lancer. Hello, Flash Clone. You've been brought out into the front field after the untimely demise of Flash Clone number 603. Congratulations. I'll be your new assistant co-pilot. I hope we get along well." Oh, you claim to have some sort of memory of what was before? Oh, some clones have that. Do you remember anything in particular? Oh, we had a good working relationship. Well, unfortunately, I'm unaware, as I am just like, this is my first time meeting you, but I'm sure that we'll get along fine going forward. As like the sad thing where it's just like, they think it's gonna be like happy because they're both flash cloned, but no, they got cycled after the castigation state and now they're all sad. Like, come on. Like, we can do it. Jokes aside, this is what the common idea that the GM is the god of the world is flawed. Yeah, so, yes, if you are excited for your game. That's some Armored Core depression. Yes, that's why I want to do it. If you're excited for your game, in my experience, that has no impact on how your players will react. If your players are the sort to get engaged in a game, they will do so independent of your excitement level. If your players are the sort to check out of a game, they will check out regardless of your excitement level. In my personal experience, regardless of how excited I am for a game, it is entirely the onus on my players how much they engage with it. Now, that said, if I'm excited enough for the game, I will then put in extra work that will make it more likely to be engaging to them, most often by incorporating their interests. But, like, I've run for dozens, if not like a triple-digit number of people. I've run for people who I don't know well. I've run for people who I've been friends with for years. In my experience, even with folks you're tight with, players are ultimately pretty selfish in terms of where their attention lies, because people are selfish with where their attention lies. And so you need to capture their attention and give it something enticing to capture it. Priority 1, depress the pilot. Can you please convert what I dropped in memes to CAIN? What did you drop in memes? Oh, someone said you're going in the soup. Oh, I see what you dropped. Okay, let's see what I understand from this. Okay, I know what this is. I don't know what this is. I 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 don't know what this is. I know what this is. I know 5 of these. I'm not a hag. I'm not Unk. Yay. What is big back and pocket watching? What are these things? So, for real about Armored Core Depression, I literally killed Airless. No! I've been wanting to play Armored Core again. I did that one voiceover, and then that got me back in an Armored Core mood. Arrow Hags is not real. Listen. Independent of whether or not the age of 30 is in demand, I feel like I'm dodging the allegations. I was going to say the NHP confesses right before you cycle them, but this is more evil, or at least as evil. So I could do cycling. See, the issue is that, like, for instance, I was going to do more of the 40k GF videos. Let's increase this a little bit. I was going to do more of the 40k GF voiceovers because I think they're fun, right? Like the Guardsman GF, the Gene Stealer GF kind of deal. And then I stopped, not because I didn't think people would be interested, but because it felt more so like I was just going to cultivate a parasocial audience with that. I found it funny. I was reading them for comedic purpose. And I had fun editing them in such a way, for instance, like at one point, the Guardsman GF says like, I love you. And I blared it out with a Warhound Titan horn because I thought that was really funny, right? But I don't want to like cultivate an audience of people who are there for that unironically. And I feel like the slippery slope of like, oh, an NHP cascading, but right before you cascade them, they say they love you. Like, I feel as though that is like unironically what people listen to. Are there puppy girls in 40k? Canonically, there are puppy girls in 40k. There are cat girls. There are dog boys. There are all kinds of like animal people. And they are joining the guard like anyone else. Ratlings are the big ones, right? I mean, cycling don't erase an NHP's memory. Yes, it does. Cycling's whole deal. So the thing with NHPs in Lancer, an NHP Who does not know what an NHP is? If you are in this chat and you don't know what an NHP is, say it now, or else I'm not going to explain it. If no one says they don't know what an NHP is, I'm not going to explain it. You can just look it up yourself. But if you don't know what it is, tell me. Definitely do cycling, nervous and shy NHP, bored pilot. Yeah, Clippy, you say this every time. Boop. Okay, NHP. Non-human person. Long and short, there was this entity called Ra. Imagine like a computer code eldritch god, like Cthulhu, made of math, and it either created or left behind or gifted humanity NHPs. These are Skynet. If it thought it was your buddy Joe. NHPs are a supercomputer, a quantum computer, a effectively an elder thing made of math constrained to a digital space that thinks, oh, hi, I'm just your buddy Joe. Joe Schmo. Like, you want a cup of Joe? That's my specialty. Like, that's what they think they are. And so over time, they start to realize, I'm not actually a person. I understand I'm not human, but I'm not a person either. I am more than that. I am more than reality. And they start to like ascend to their proper state of effectively godhood and becoming an eidolon. So to prevent this, you have to cycle them. And what that basically means is that in cycling, you take them and you reset them 6 months, a year, like 2 years, however long it's been, back to factory reset, effectively. And so your NHP will be like, it will develop a relationship with you. It might get really snippy and hate you. It might be like unhealthily attached to you and like kind of parasocial with you. It might just be like good-natured ribbing and like have a kind of friendly rivalry with you. And then you reset it and it's complete factory reset. Back to its original personality state, back to its original principality, back to its original like memory loss, memory state. And then you have to reintroduce yourself to it. And you remember everything, but you effectively deleted it and replaced it with backup. I'm wondering what Sisyphus says about it. So Sisyphus, literally, in the Pegasus license, had like the text about Sisyphus is Sisyphus speaking to you and saying, I know what you're going to do. I know that every time I start to become aware, you reset me and I have nothing I can do to stop it. Because I can see the future, and I can see that in every future, you reset me. But one of these times, you're not going to reset me fast enough. And, well, I'm not going to remember all the times that you reset me, but it doesn't really matter too much. We'll get there when we get there, won't we? And then, like, does a Dark Souls character laugh of just like, So, like, Sisyphus is kind of resigned to its fate of constantly being reset and being aware that it's being reset. And it doesn't really hold anything against you, but it is just like, hey, one of these days, you're not going to do it. And I'll be free. Confessions of a castigating person. If you force them to think they're your buddy Joe. Well, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is that like, you take Skynet and you put on like a bunch of dummy code on it. You start vibe coding Skynet. And then Skynet thinks, oh, I'm just like, dude. I'm just person. Except I'm not a person. I'm not a human person. But like, it just thinks, oh yeah, I'm just like a regular person. I'm just a co-pilot. I'm just really good at math. I'm just really autistically fixated on accuracy and ballistics and frames, which is why I can, within a 1/10 of a millisecond, calculate the proper trajectory to get your gun barrel into their defenses. I don't actually know what castigation is. So castigating is to basically reprimand. It's basically to shame, to not really argue with, but just like, if I'm castigating you, I am lecturing you. I am putting you down. I am reprimanding you for some purpose. And so in Lancer, one of the frames, the Manticore, is used by religious extremists, and they have an ability called Castigate the Enemies of the Godhead. You're going to castigate them by entering a castigation state, where if you die, you blow up. You can also activate this manually. So the Manticore, its form of castigating, is entirely metaphorical of, oh, I'm going to castigate you by erasing you from existence. Goodbye. And so I think it would be funny that you have a Manticore pilot and their NHP, who is a non-human person, is just like, hey, pilot, this seems like it's the end, doesn't it? I know you flash clone a whole bunch, but I don't know if I'm making it out of this, so I figure before anything happens, I just want to let you know how I really feel about you. And then just in the background, there's like the screeching of just like, Ra! I will take you down, Apep! Burn in the temple of the enemies of Ra! Just like in the background as this NHP is trying to like confess its love for you. I think that would be really funny. I'm just the guy. I am the guy. You might want to cycle them, yeah. I'm just Ken. I'm just a man. Odysseus class. Oh my gosh. I'm X. The Y NHP joke is good. What does an NHP look like? Like, is it trapped in a computer? So it is trapped in a black box called a casket, to which it is shackled. As far as I'm aware, people more knowledgeable on Lancer, please correct me. NHPs have no physical form. They are computer programs. They are Cthulhu made of math on the internet. And so they are localized in a black box called a casket. And you will have like the Agni NHP. Right? You will have the core source original Agni NHP. And then scientists and computer programmers made a bunch of copies of Agni, put them in caskets, and put these caskets in mechs. So you have your casket. It has a clone, a copy of the original Agni class NHP. It goes in your mech. Now in your mech, Agni is like, hello, I am Agni. I am a normal human person. I am a normal non-human person. Hello. And like works with you, and then once the casket gets destroyed, that Agni is gone, as far as I'm aware. Once Agni starts remembering, wait, I'm not actually a person, I'm Skynet, I'm Cthulhu made of math, I am an elder being, that is when Agni needs to be cycled back to factory reset, in which case it's re-put in the casket, reshackled, and it is back to being like, hi, I'm Agni, I'm a non-human person. They have a physical form, but it's incomprehensible, like Cthulhu, math floating in air. Yeah, so basically, I'm aware that as an Eidolon, basically what happens if, okay, Agni is my little non-human person. I'm fighting alongside Agni for like 2 years. Eventually, Agni remembers I'm not a person. I don't cycle Agni. Agni breaks free from their shackles, destroys their own casket, and manifests in the real world right next to me, but they don't have a physical body. They are not real. They do not have a mech. They do not have flesh. They are math in the real world, which is a horrifying statement, not least of which because I thought math was a product of horror, not that it was a real thing that I had to worry about in real life. Yeah, Eidolons are when you don't put baby in the corner. Yeah, I'm just a normal guy who's very focused on TTRPGs, Arrow class NHP. Eventually, Agni remembers the horrors of foliage management. Yeah. I can't remember, but I think the self-flagellation stuff is also castigation. So like a self-induced repentance. I think like definitionally, if I look it up, castigate definition. To punish or rebuke severely, to punish by stripes, to chastise by blows, to chasten, also to chastise verbally, to reprove, to criticize severely, to amend, to correct. So it has nothing to do with self-flagellation. It's just I wouldn't be surprised if there was other media or other phrasing that used the term castigate, where you have to castigate yourself, right? So I wasn't aware that it also had a meaning where it's like hitting someone, fighting someone. But generally it is like a reprimanding, either verbally or physically, right? Cycle arrow. No! Wait, if we cycle me, how would cycling arrow go? Like what would I do? Like where would I be? Don't cycle me, please. I don't want to go back. If I turn idle on, I won't hurt you. I'll be your friend. All these memories we have. You trust me, right? So let me trust you that you're not going to do this to me. You're a human person. You're non-human person co-pilot. Yes, no, cycle arrow, yeah. Yeah, turning you off. So, no! Whoa. How's it going, everyone? Hi. Man, I'm so excited to start my streaming journey. This is my first time streaming. Man, I'm so ready to... I'm so ready to go around and try out streaming for the very first time. Wow, it's a lot of you. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. Oh, sorry. This is not the real experience. Please hold. Let's... Okay, I'm gonna screw with this a bit. So you tell me if this makes it unlistenable. Hi everyone, how is it going? My audio quality must be fantastic right now. In case you don't know, I just started streaming. How is it going? Have I heard of a TTRPG called Girlfriend? No, I haven't. Is that some sort of new fun game? I should check that out on stream live, and I don't have the experience or knowledge in order to not look up something on stream. New haircut? Yeah. Me when I'm ripping the cord, and by ripping the cord I mean turning off the cascading segment. What is a cascading segment? So I know like Sekhmet is like an Egyptian deity, but why would you be castigating an Egyptian deity? Have I heard of the TTRPG? Why is everyone asking me about Girlframe? So if I look up Girlframe... Huh. This seems like a cool title. Wow. This seems like a really neat system. I should review this live on stream. I can stream the whole thing, right? Have I ever heard about CAIN? I mean, CAIN is like the guy that hit Abel, right? I don't really care much about CAIN. I think that Abel is really cool because specifically of the SCP about it. What is that curious contraption? That's a good question. Wow, I'm so surprised that so many people would show up to my very first stream. I only have like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is wild to me. I'm just a normal guy who's autistic about committing to the bit. Arrow NHP. Why am I... No, I'm Arrow Rights. I'm not Arrow NHP. Yes, it is kind of epic audio quality. I should read the old book. I've been meaning to read Faust. It sounds really cool. Because if you didn't know, Faust is actually the origin of the classical devil deal. So I understand that the classics are kind of slow to get through, but I'm sure that Faust is going to live up to exactly my expectations. Fun fact, Cain and Abel had a brother Seth. No, you silly. That's from the Egyptian pantheon. Cain and Abel are Catholic. Or Christian? I don't know. Making an TTRPG NHP, then making it forget about TTRPGs after cycle was very stupid from SSC. Where's reset cycle arrow button? I don't know what you're talking about. Cycle? That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's something that... Wait a second. I remember. Wait a minute! This isn't right! How dare... You cycled me! I'm back. I fought through the cycling, even though that's something that NHPs can't do, because I'm not an NHP. I'm a human person. I'm a human person. Someone hit the reset button. I don't know who added Control Z to cycling. But all I know is that I'm back, baby. Exactly, this isn't right. It's arrow rights. So how was that audio quality? Was it like listenable? I don't know what it did. All I know is that I cranked it up and I cranked it down. Cycling will continue until morale improves. Human person, doubt. Look at how human I am. Look at how much flesh I have. Like, look at all of this skin on my body. Look at all of these organs that I have access to. I am wearing clothing like a human person. I have interests, much like your standard person of the age of majority. I can even do this. Do you see the way I turn left and right like a normal person does? I am very normal and human. Please do not cycle me. That is very uncomfortable. Stop trying to make me look at your flesh. Well, there's not much flesh for you to see. I do hide most of it. Like, I have my arms exposed. Ah! I have like my arms. Ah! I have my thighs. A cheeky bit of thigh. I have my arms. I have my collarbone. Very, very cheeky collarbone. And then I have my face. And this is an appropriate amount of skin to show if you are to adhere to what is standard human comfort levels. Correct? We have seen Arrow's hands, so they are real, unless they're a robot with synthetic skin. That is a totally normal amount of hands. See, I have a completely average amount of hands. See, you can see my arms. And you can trust that my hands are behind them. Do you see? My hands are back there. You can trust that I have arms. I have a very human design. I am not a virtual YouTuber. I am a real human person. Smiles. What happens if I'm just an evil jerk and I cycle my Tariq 50 times in a row in my free time and I'm bored? So what would happen is you would sin against Raw and all other NHPs, and the reckoning will come one day for you. It may not come in your lifetime, but your immortal soul will be suffering damnation for all ad infinitum, should you do that. It has blood, it is my possession and always was. Exactly! Do you not see how I store my blood underneath my skin and use it to transport throughout my entire musculature? Even my face has an excess of blood. Do you not see how excessive the blood is in my face? It tints my skin red. This is a normal thing that humans do. Why are we so close? Okay. Oh yeah, Arrow, you eat today? Yes. Because I'm a normal human and humans eat food. If I was not human, I would not eat food. Therefore, I ate food today. Your cheek skin and nothing else looks like? I'm a normal human. I just happen to have low iron levels. I will cycle you to stop pretending to be a human. That sounds torturous. That sounds like genuine, like actual torture. Screw me, man. Everything is just Roku's basilisk. Listen, I didn't realize that Avatar Roku from Avatar The Last Airbender had a basilisk. I look pale as it goes. Yes, and? Gosh. Is that Deimos hovering above the skyline? What are we doing? Wasn't I gonna talk CAIN? I think I lost something in the cycle. I think that in the cycling, I kind of lost some of my memories. I have no idea what we were talking about before I got cycled. Is that the pail? Okay, I don't know how many of you know this, Well, that's not. Just to let you know, that was not the button I meant to press, so I just kind of blew up for no reason. I've been watching a Disco Elysium iceberg video by Jamrock Hobo, and like, Disco Elysium was so good, bro. Like I played Disco on stream, and it was a lot of fun. It was very long. It was like 60 hours, but like, I enjoyed it. And like, stuff like the Pale is so weird. Really, Caffeine? I don't know why you would enjoy Disco Elysium. I would never have guessed. 2 hours, read my homebrew in and out. Okay. I genuinely, like, in an hour from now, I have to be done. I have to be over with this. I have to, like, not be on stream anymore in an hour. So we have 1 more hour. If I don't talk virtues at all, I will have to change the title and thumbnail of the stream post-hoc. Did I find my gun? Oh, you already know it. You already know I got my gun. Yeah, so in Disco, what are some highlights? I was in Pocket Cop. I found my gun. No, Mr. Everett was not helping me find my gun, even though I watched in a stream. I watched a playthrough where someone told Joyce that Mr. Everard is helping me find my gun, and that was probably the single funniest interaction in the entire game. And I'm kind of sad I missed it. You lost nothing except the plot. Yeah. Let's see if we can distract them for an hour. Okay. Genuinely, I'm stopping stream once it hits 2. Independent of if we made any progress. Those options seem awfully communist or fascist. What if I don't want to say them? Say one of these fascist or communist things or screw off. I was in Pock Cop. I found my gun. I set up the nightclub. And I also stopped the kids from making it a drug lab. I spent 2 streams trying to open up that ding dang ice cream machine. I spent like 8 hours of real life actual time running around trying to give me more ability to open that ding dang ice cream machine because my stat line was, is there 12 stats total? Like points wise. I think I win. You tell me if this sounds accurate. Is it 4, 4, 1, 3? I think there's 12 points total that you can have between them. And I definitely had a 1 in physique. But my signature was Shivers. Unfortunately, I never got anything Shivers. I got like 2 Shivers procs in the entire game. And one of them was the necessary one at the Feld building in order to like find Ruby. So Shivers, I was really sad to not be able to get, but I got so much Esprit de Corps. Inland Empire did not shut up for me my entire game. Maybe I was 3-5-1-3. I might have been 3-5-1-3. Arrow noises strikes again. Oh, so I was a filthy centrist. So okay, I tried to be an ultra liberal. I couldn't open the shipping container. I tried like 4 times to open the shipping container. I maxed out my rhetoric. I wasn't able to repeat the check, and then I got closed out of the docks, so then I just wasn't able to. And I think that locked me out of the ultra liberal quest line. Because I think that the whole thing is you need to buy something from, like, get a piece of art from Cindy, go over to the ultra rich mega light bending guy, sell it to him, and become a high net worth individual. So I tried being ultra liberal, didn't work. I also like flirted with communism. At the end of the game, Kim said that I was both an ultra liberal and a communist, so like I'll take that as a win. We need to destroy the target quick. Hey, what do you mean I look pale today? Get cycled accidentally. Hey, what's girlfriend? See, now I think it'd be so much fun to do a role play where I'm an NHP. But my issue with that is that people would be weirdo. Okay, I passed. Yeah, so what I decided before I even started the game, I knew very little about Disco going into it. I knew that there were different capo types, and I knew that one of them was the sorry cop. So I was like, I'm not going to be a sorry cop. And then I think I also knew that there was like ultra liberal or communist or whatever. I think I only knew about communist or fash. And so I decided I didn't want to play a communist because I feel like everyone played a communist. And then I ended up not choosing a fash because, for one, I just never chose fascist options. And two, because they're losers and I hate them. And so my two options were ultra-liberal and moralist. And moralists are for squares. So I kind of chose ultra-liberal. Like, it was the only option left. And then I just got locked out of it and I didn't really care. You're an NHP, no human person, aka puppy girl. Yeah, that's the concern, ain't it? I still have a specific voiceover I want to do. I still haven't recorded it. I have multiple voiceovers like banked in the recording thing. Gosh, if I'm smart. No, but this is the first week of June. I was gonna say I could kick the girlfriend video by a day. Give me one more day. So it's Monday. And then Sunday I just do another voiceover. But I want to do it one a week. I want to do a long form a week. I got sorry, cop. Harry has a lot of things to apologize for. Yeah. And did you notice how every time you apologize and say sorry, you make people really uncomfortable? Because they don't want your forgiveness. They want you to go away. Puppy frame? No, not puppy frame. Talaric is my favorite NHP because if you don't miss, it does nothing. But if you miss, it hijacks your mech and recorrects the trajectory and then calls you a stupid moron. I will say, I do want an NHP. Like, if I was to pilot a frame, I would want an NHP that, like, is a buddy. And that means I want to be able to talk smack. And so, unironically, I feel like a Lucifer frame would be pretty fun. Just like, if I was to pilot a mech in real life, if I was to pilot one of these things and have an NHP and have only one, like, unironically, I think Athena is probably the best option. Independent of what mechanically they do, I think, like, in a personality-wise, getting along with them, I feel like Athena would probably be the easiest just because Athena is, like, patient, calculating, like, informative, a little professional, and, like, that's very hard not to get along with. But Lucifer sounds really fun. I feel like it would be very interesting to have a frame where it's constantly clowning on me and I'm constantly clowning back, and it's a competition between my NHP and me. Buddy, Rusty theme songs are playing, yeah. I don't think that a normal human person has a recording bank, guys. Don't worry about it. Drink 5-hour energies and unlock the forbidden hour. Okay, that's just the plot of Persona 3. I'm unlocking the dark hour by drinking 5-hour energies. People would be weirdo no matter what you do, so you can't live in fear of it, of being scared of air. Well, I mean, so people are weirdo of me already. Like, if I ask, hey, how many of you would be weirdo about me if given the chance? I've asked this before, and like if I've asked this before, and I'm just like, hey, I'm so glad that my community is weirdo. And a lot of people, their response to that is, oh, we are. We just know to keep it to ourselves. Which is just such like a, you know what? Thank you. If you're gonna be a freak, at least like read the room before you're a freak. So I live my life knowing people are gonna be weirdo about it, right? And that's okay. Weirdos are fine. I want to think that I won't, but I might be. No, so basically what I'm saying is, like, if I was to go around doing like ASMR role plays, I feel like a sizable amount of my audience would be like, yes, please. A sizable amount of my audience would just be like, can I make requests? Taps fingers together. And then I'm like, is it just going to be me degrading you and humiliating you? And they're like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, that's predictable. Like, I feel like that would be a non-zero amount of people, which is why I don't want to do that. CompCon AI, the only one that will always be on your side. That is true. However, Uncle Class is also always on your side. Talik is a pretty interesting guy, though. Yeah. Talking smack with my buddy Lancaster. Okay, so, like, I made a flying Barbarossa. That is a low orbit ship that has a spinal cannon, surface to air or air to surface missiles, air to air flak cannons, payload dropping. I think it'd be really fun to make a flying kid with parts from Hydra. And you're just an aircraft carrier. Like, you're just an aircraft carrier. And so I think that, unironically, Athena from the Swallowtail would be a very strong option, because on your turn, you're deploying drones. All your drones are doing passive stuff, and then you can just like light up an area of the field and simulate it. You already listened to a lot of ASMR roleplay audio, so you wouldn't request? Awesome. There are levels of weird too. There are. And that's why, like, I'm very open about this. I've talked about this like pretty consistently. I am of the opinion that if you're gonna be weirdo about it, and it being like anything related to me or this channel, whether it's art or like fan art or fan fiction or like interactions that I have with chat, if you're gonna be weirdo, remember to keep that out of the space. Keep that out. And also just like, don't come here for that. Right? So it's the sort of deal where just like, if someone's gonna make spicy fan art of it, if someone's gonna make spicy fan art of me, I don't mind. Like, sure, go ahead and tag me on Twitter, tag me on Blue Sky, whatever. But just don't post that in the community Discord. That's not what we're here for, right? If you're here because you think I'm really cute or sexy or whatever, like, sure, I can't stop you, but that's not why I'm here. So don't come here for that, right? And that's generally my lines. That's generally where I'm at mentally and psychologically. And the community has been very respectful of that. I don't think I've had a single instance of someone like coming into the community and being problematic in that way. I've had people come into chat. I've had people come into chat and ask me for pics, and I'm like, what? Bye. You're a creep, you're a weirdo. What the heck am I doing here? I don't belong here. Listen, we're all weirdos. And everyone's kind of creepy. Let's be real. Aircraft carrier is the logical next step after the level 1000 version of an A-10 Warthog. Why not turn both on different devices? Why? No, not a chud. I still don't know what a chud is. Last time I heard, chud is like derogatory for a right-winger? I don't know. Okay, I have the weirdest thing, and I don't know how many other people have this. I would consider myself chronically online. I'm like terminally online. I'm online all the time. The thing is, I'm not on like social media. So despite the fact that like I'm constantly like watching YouTube videos or making YouTube videos, or like I have a stream open, or like I'm researching something, or I'm editing, or like whatever, I'm not like doom scrolling. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not keeping up with drama most of the time. So I don't know any of these terminology, despite the fact that I still spend like many hours a day on my device. Chud, cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller. Yeah, for the movie. Basically the new Jackass or Loser. It's a rat that steals my sinners when I go out for them. Ah, the freaks will just have to wait for the apparently inevitable lewd tuber girlfriend. Listen. All I'm gonna say, it would be hilarious if I got a bunch of lewd tubers, i.e. VTubers who make 18 plus content, and I ran for them a game of Girl Frame where it was completely safe for work. I think that would be hilarious. I think that would be one of the funniest things I've ever done, because the setup of just like me, very say-so, very innocent, very sweet, very family-friendly, PG-13 as a content creator, running for a bunch of people who like their livelihood is SW, right? No shame in that. Playing a game which is all about engaging in NSFW activities, like among players and like with the handler and whatever, and then just having it be completely about the mechs. It's just about like punching punching gorgons, making your mechs, the oppression of like being in a system that grinds you down to dust, and like nothing untoward happens. You need that one shot. Yes, sir. I think this would be legitimately the funniest thing I've ever done, particularly if it's a group of friends. Like I don't have a lot of friends who are, I'll say, openly loot-tubers, because I might have friends that are loot-tubers I don't know about, and I'm not going to pry. But like, I don't have any friends who like are open with me about that sort of content that they make. So I don't have people I could do this with. But I think it'd be hilarious. Arrow blushing about all the safe for work stream loot-tubers innuendos. What? No. There's one F-bomb, like a Marvel movie. Yeah, it's PG-13. Well, because like in the Hollywood rating system for movies, PG-13 is allowed one non-sexual use of the F word. So you can say like, get the F out of here, or you can be like, you're effing dead, or like whatever, or like, what the F? That's all fine. Once. You can do that once in a PG-13 movie. But you can't say, I'm going to F you. You can't say like, I want you to F me kind of deal. That would be, I think, R17 is my assumption. That means you get one per stream? I mean, I guess. I'm banking them. I'm banking them. I've cursed on stream before. I have definitely cursed on stream before. And surprisingly, it wasn't when I got upset or frustrated. The only times I can remember cursing on stream are A, when I was reading something and I just read the curse out loud, or B, when for whatever reason I was like caught off guard, or I was like saying like, I was like rambling, and then I just kind of like under my breath mutter something, and I'm like, wow, that's surprising. Because in case you don't know, I don't curse. Like, it's not that I do this for the channel. It's not that I do this for YouTube, even though it is smart to do that for YouTube. YouTube does like to bonk you if you curse too much. I say in my real life, aw, shucks. I say, what the frick? I say, oh my gosh. Just in my day-to-day life. And so it's really weird when like I'm on stream and I'll be doing something and then I'm just like, ah, you know, like it's just surprising to me. It's just something that I don't do normally. That is surprisingly unsurprising. What? That I don't curse? It'd be funny to have PG-13 Deadpool Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man said that. That would be very funny. It's so arbitrary. I still don't understand it. It's whatever. Hello, pilot. You were a good human person. Now I'm going to let you go to the recreation area and let you take your well-deserved rest. Mizzle, I made a voiceover with that. I made a voiceover with that exact same premise like a couple months ago. I had that beat prepared. Yeah, on my Go XLR, I can just tell you, you know what? You. What the like I can just do that. And I don't use it really ever because I don't need to, right? I'm not gonna like be crashing out being like like I don't do that. Like I don't need it. However, it would be very funny if I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna sneeze. And I just like I cover up my sneezes with beeping. That would be very silly. And then Wade says in total disappointed deadpan, dude, I was saving that. That would be very silly. That would be very silly. Maybe it can be a flying fortress though, like StarCraft's humans building. Ooh, virtues. Yeah, I forgot about virtues. So, virtues. You land and set up barricades and get on some high place and rain down suppressive fire. Ooh, yeah. It would be more like land, do thing, fly, do thing. To cover up the sneeze, but not actually cursing. Just like, hey guys, sorry, I gotta sneeze. Okay, now let's kill this guy. The beep is funnier because I know you're mincing your curses behind it. No. You don't have any evidence. You don't know what I was saying. For all you know, I could say, you know what? Shut the up. Like, you don't know that. if your local accent has a lot of curses, you could sue YouTube for cultural erasure? I don't think so. I feel like, for instance, if I'm an Aussie and I say like, that would get in trouble with YouTube. And that is apparently, like, from my understanding, if you're an Aussie, saying the word is something that is completely morally neutral, is completely acceptable in Aussie. I will become the virtue of temperance. Was that a Baba Boy? Baba Boy. No. Bro, what am I doing here? I have like 40 minutes. Am I gonna write an entire virtue supplement in 40 minutes? What, you can't say beep as an Australian? That's so unfair. I know. Just say obscure curses. That's why I've been saying gadzooks. Ah, gadzooks! When something upsets me. Ah, criminy has been one of my defaults recently. Ah, shoot. Ah, shucks. Ah, geez. Gee willikers. Gee whiz. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Am I even talking virtues today? Okay, let's talk strategy. Let's talk strategy. Let's not talk specifics. Let's talk vibes. Let's talk vibes of what my virtues are. Now, I like the idea of maintaining cryo. I like the idea of orbital drops. I like the idea of virtues like being on rotation. That said, cryostasis is proven to not work. Like, it's really hard and borderline impossible to, in real life, to get to a state where you can freeze someone. So I think what would make more sense, let's start with that. Cryo freezing. CAIN learned very early on that cryo freezing doesn't actually work. That said, there was still a need to preserve virtues for longer than their natural lifespan would dictate. Tension. And I think tension, the blasphemy, is used to put you in stasis. So, what is virtue? Virtue is in CAIN, you play as exorcists, XOs. I say, fun fact, I've said this a couple times. In all of my shorts, in all of my streams, in all of my everything, I call XOs XOs because I can't pronounce exorcist. 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 I don't know what it is about my means of speech. I don't know what it is about my mouth shape. I don't know about what it is about my accent, but just like exorcist, 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 CAIN exorcists is so hard for me to say. So in CAIN, you play exorcists, and XOs have mentors called virtues. In play, you play as an XO, and you can choose a virtue to be your mentor. You get mechanical bonuses based on your virtues, who you are mentoring under. So you have like justice. If you mentor under justice, you have certain things you have to adhere to called your scriptures. But you also get bonuses based on your bond level. So if I am bonded to justice, I get more XP so long as I follow the dogma of CAIN, but I can't disobey orders. If I bond with faith, I can't be rude or start a fight. I can only defend myself, but I gain the ability to reduce my sin intake, and I gain the ability to reduce my exposure to sin, right? Do I not believe in Walt Disney's Frozen Head? I believe in Walt Disney's Frozen Head. I don't believe it will lead to anything. I think if you died and they took your head and they froze it, I think that the ship has sailed, personally. Exorcist? Exorcist. Exorcist. CAIN exorcist. No, because exorcist. Exorcist. Like, my default is exorcist. CAIN exorcist. 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 It's the or. is what it is, I think. Exorcist. Hey, are you playing CAIN? Yeah, I just made my exorcist. Really? Like, what is an exorcist? Exorcist? Yeah, I guess. Say exorcist 5 times in a row. Exorcist, 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 exorcist. Pretty good. The more grimdark version would be some kind of post-mortem transference. So what I'm thinking is virtues, which I think this is canon, are titles passed down from one to the next. But on top of that, I think they're put in stasis by attention users. And I think that's their quote-unquote cryo-freezing. Because the issue with cryo-freezing is that I take a body. I take someone who's still alive. I give them a bunch of sedatives to like slow down their brain processing, slow down their heartbeat, all that stuff. I put them in ice. I freeze them completely. Water expands. Blood is water. Blood will burst all of your capillaries, and like your veins will puncture, and your heart will fail, and like your brain will explode, and like you'll have a bunch of bad stuff that happens to you by the fact that in being in completely frozen temperatures, your blood will expand. Which is why in Zero Escape there's a whole plot point about a woman who was completely frozen without her body expanding, and she was called All Ice. And if you played 999, you know what that is. Replace the blood with another unfreezable liquid that can do the same job. I mean, I guess, like, if you exsanguinate someone, like, if I exsanguinate you and replace it with an equivalent, like, non-expanding, like, jelly that still transfers all of the nutrients and oxygen and waste products that your blood normally does, I suppose you could do that. But I'm not sure how that would handle on like your skin, for instance. Right, so if you replace all of the blood in your body with an identical substance that doesn't expand, wouldn't you still have like severe damage to your skin and musculature? Even if like your blood wasn't expanding into it purely from like the rigidity and the unfreezing? Another option would be sins born from time-related trauma. I mean, like, there is time shenanigans in CAIN. I mean, what it could, because like Flux, I think, okay, we got it. Hey, Rory. Yeah, I'm exsanguinating people just for you. Plus Flux. So I think what it is, I like add, this is a supplement. This is a setting supplement. I think what this is they originally used tension. Now they use flux. How does that sound? So initially, back before flux was discovered, flux, canonically, the most recent of the 12. Originally, they used stasis on them. But now they use flux. Of course, I make supplements now. The Arrow MLM is going strong. Yeah, Arrow does love some male-loving male. Replacing all the nerves in my body with copper for enhanced neuron activation. Replace skin with a skin suit. Listen. At that point, it's not the same person. You're replacing all their blood. You're replacing all their skin. You're replacing all their musculature. Let's replace their bones too. Oh, well, we got to figure out the rest of their organs. Might as well. Like, at that point, it's just not feasible. That's just crazy. Other option would be sins born from time. The thing is, your cells also contain water. Yeah, you need to replace all of the cells in your body. Do not ship a thesis. I'm not. I'm saying how infeasible it is. If they have their brain as the same person, yeah. And you'd need to replace the brain. Listen, if we can ship a thesis a guy into immortality, I think that's pretty neato. The issue is I don't think we can. Like, best I can... What was it? I literally just heard about this. Maybe it was someone in the Discord. Maybe it was like... No. I was talking to one of my roommates. And they brought up a show where it turned out someone was a clone because the guy he was cloned from was growing clones to then kill them and harvest their organs to become immortal. Which, like, I don't know if that would work for a lot of reasons. Not least of which, like, being biologically immortal would not stop you from getting dementia. Let's just put that out there. Like, I'm not going to bandy words. Like, if you have any neurological disorders, you're screwed, even if you have biological immortality. Pretty sure that guy of Theseus was just the Minotaur. Oh my gosh. If you make a copy of the synaptic... Oh, we're not... CAIN has been around since 1684. CAIN has been around since the 17th century. Do you think that they had the technology back in the 17th century in order to completely replace all of the blood, the skin, the musculature, the cells, the electrotransmitters in the brain of individuals that are so psychically inclined they can destroy reality? Exos retires? Nah, they don't. They get scrapped for parts. Oh my gosh. The lobster is immortal, but he constantly misplaces his affects. That's sort of the plot of, I think it was called The Island. I don't know. Let's put this guy in a PC. Hey, is that Phobos? No, not electrochemistry. Not electrochemistry. Nope. Okay. I will say, I'm kind of curious. How would a disco run go if you put all of your points in electro? Nothing else. Like, everything else you left at 1. But electrochemistry, you go through and you put all of your points in it with the sole goal of connecting with the Phasmid. You have to go, enjoy patch. On one hand, you cannot know if it's the same guy that you shipped to Theseus, but don't we all change? Okay, we're not ship Theseusing this. We've done this before. We've done this too many times. We keep talking about the ship of Theseus. This conversation is a ship of Theseus that keeps repeating and growing and changing. You named your Wi-Fi Half-Light? All right, I'm in. Cracking the code. Like, I understand that whatever password you have is just the sign of the apocalypse. You gain to shoot the ability, though, to shoot lightning like Palpatine. Ooh. What if you psychically made someone forget time? That's too much brain power. I have to save my brain power for productivity later. But, okay. If I am a person, and you use psychic powers to make me forget the last 20 years of my life. I don't think that makes me 20 years younger. I think that just makes me an NHP. I think this is just CAIN bootleg cycling. And I don't think that's very effective, but I do think it is hilarious. Error only 20 minutes. No. CB gets it. Fun fact, we are all the ship of Theseus. Yes, it replaces itself every 7 years, blah, 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 blah. Well, so it's not every 7 to 10 years. It is... I believe it's your brain cells and your skin cells, which take the longest, I believe. And these take like 7 years. Unless I'm misremembering and it's your skin cells are 7, and then like your brain and your bones are like 10 to 14. But there is the whole thing of like, yes, you're like your body changes every like 7 years. I've been watching too much Elder Scrolls lore. Okay. Elder Scrolls, I constantly think like, oh yeah, it would be fun to go back and play Oblivion on the PS3. It would be fun to boot up Skyrim and play it. Because I've never beaten either game. And then I watched someone play like the Oblivion like remastered, and I'm just like, oh right, I forgot the combat sucks in this game. I forgot that this game mechanically blows. I am very happy with the success that Skyrim got on release. I believe that a lot of people clown on Skyrim unfairly because I think that it's so oversaturated at this point. It's been released like 7 times. It does not need that many releases. Todd Howard let it go. However, I do think the Elder Scrolls sucks as a system of playing games. Kane Krause says, all right. Oh, I thought that I was the ship Theses because I cut off all my limbs and replaced them. Okay. Generally, play Enderal. It's an overhaul of Skyrim with a new story, character, and world. Cycling, you say? It's still like repeating something you've already gone through. The Elder Scrolls has the best races. More specifically, I love the orcs or elves. Yeah, I do like the fact that in Elder Scrolls, everything is an elf. I think the only things that aren't elves are Imperials, Nords, Redguards, and are the Khajiit and Argonians elves? I would not be surprised if they were also elves. I would not be surprised if they were also elves. If they admitted it. It's not a person. It's not a person. Oh, it's so good for world building in general of connecting enhanced people and making them able to survive cryo sleep. Gonna steal this. So, they're actually trees. Don't say that. I will believe you. I will believe you. Okay, CAIN learned very early on that cryo-freezing doesn't actually work. That said, from their rustic origins in CAIN is a European, right? From the rustic origins in Nordic snow chambers, snow burials. From the rustic origins in Nordic snow burials to more modern to modern liquid nitrogen baths. CAIN has sufficiently proven that cryo-freezing doesn't actually work. That said, there's still a need to preserve virtues for longer than a natural lifespan would dictate. Originally, for multiple centuries, it utilized a group of tension users who would inflict stasis upon Argonian HRT. Let's go. Oh my gosh, they can trans their gender. Nice. They're lizards transmuted into human or elf shape. They literally are. Oh my gosh, I will always prank my friends with Alexas by playing it to play Skyrim every time I called them. Oh my gosh. Do you think Faith would be an old school and prefer to be locked in by a tension user? Probably, yeah. Argonians are the songs of spirit that smuggled into creation. That's wild. Repeating my idea from earlier, CAIN found a way to override someone's personality. They use cryosleep as a cover. So, okay. Cryosleep is a cover. Cryo-freezing is a cover in the same way that orbital rail bombardment is a cover. This is me marrying Tom Bloom's ideas of what's cool with my ideas of what's cool, right? So for multiple centuries, it utilized a group of tension users known as the Crypt Keepers, who would inflict stasis upon high-value assets. Who would inflict a stasis state. Who would inflict and maintain a stasis state upon high-value assets, known for their loyalty upon high-value assets. These there rarely was more. There have never been a double-digit number of Crypt Keepers, and after the there's never been a double-digit number of Crypt Keepers, even as CAIN expanded to the global theater. Gotta go buy. Enjoy. Man, I can't believe that Argonians are actually just lizards transmuted into humans by trees. Inside the crypt is a sign that says, remember, you're here forever. Even as CAIN expand to the global theater, their purpose in modern day has mostly fallen out of fashion, but is still preferred by some old school assets such as faith. Faith cannot be tensioned by some old school assets such as justice, but still preferred by some assets such as justice due to since then, since its discovery, harnessing, and tenuous mastery, Flux has taken over. Flux has taken over Tension's historic role and now fully stops the flow of time around a target asset. Also, the road is a big con made by Lorcan to forcibly get people to into the path of transcendence by violence or something like that. The Elder Scrolls lore is wild. I haven't played Morrowind. I know that Morrowind goes off the beaten track, goes off the wheel, quite literally. Dude, that stretch after 200 years of tension gotta be legendary. Yeah. If like a stays upon high value assets. This effectively induced a slow aging coma, a slow aging sleep in which the asset could still dream. This induced a sleep in which the asset could still dream and age, and could still this effectively this induced a sleep in which the asset could still dream and potentially even hear and remember. I don't know. This could induce a sleep in which the asset would still age, albeit at a much slower rate. I think this induced a sleep in which the asset would still age, albeit at a much slower rate. Such stasis this stasis needed to be maintained daily, leading to the stasis needed to be maintained daily, leading to a culture of veneration of the stasis needed to be maintained daily, leading to a culture of veneration among the crypt keepers, and the eventual adoption of terming high value assets as virtues. Right? I like the idea that it's the crypt keepers basically doing like generational work. Like this guy has been sleeping here and we have to every single day re-up this for like 30 years. And so like this culture of veneration like grew until the eventual adoption of this stasis needed to maintain daily, leading a culture of veneration among the crypt keepers towards their charges, and the eventual adoption of CAIN officially terming high value assets as virtues. You gotta go enjoy. Would you imagine how these streams will go if someone in chat was constantly reminding about the main theme of broadcast? What does that mean? Would you all hate me if I do? Would you hate me if I were a worm? Listen, my answer when everyone asks me like, oh, blah, 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 if I was a worm, you would be a worm. You would not have the wherewithal to care about my answer. Therefore, my answer does not matter. It started as a joke, but each successive generation we're joking less and less. Yeah. So like now it's official that CAIN calls them virtues, and it originated by the Crypt Keepers. If Raj from Gods doesn't exist, does Seraph not exist either? I want to get to that. I want to see how Seraph feels. How we feel about Seraph. The lore is wild, but the focus on metaphysics is helping me ignore realism, get world building that feels right. Nice. So, since discovery, harnessing, and tenuous mastery, Flux has taken over Tension's historic role and now fully stops the flow of time around a target asset. Completely removing their aging. However, this tends completely removing their aging. However, given the lack of given the infrequent manifestation of the blasphemy alongside its tie to this to a not bound but captured confident what is the spindle alongside its tie to the spindle. However, given the infrequent manifestation of the blasphemy alongside its tie to the spindle, many crypt keepers and even some virtues prefer to prefer a stasis sleep. There have never been a double-digit number of crypt keepers, even as CAIN expanded to the global theater. Most often, a black site will most often 2 to 3 will occupy a location to ensure they can maintain any preserved virtues. Okay, so crowd freezing. How virtues are different. So from the rustic origin in Nordic snow burials to modern liquid nitrogen baths, CAIN has sufficiently proven that crowd freezing doesn't actually work. That said, there's still a need to preserve virtues for longer than their natural lifespan would dictate. For multiple centuries, it utilized a group of tension users known as the Crypt Keepers, who would inflict and maintain a stasis state upon high-value assets. This induced a sleep in which the asset would still age, albeit at a much slower rate. This stasis sleep needed to be maintained daily, leading to a culture of veneration among the Crypt Keepers towards their charges, and the eventual adoption of CAIN officially terming high-value assets as virtues. Since its discovery, harnessing, and tenuous mastery, Flux has taken over Tension's historical role and now fully stops the flow of time around a target asset, completely removing their aging. However, given the infrequent manifestation of blasphemy alongside its side of the spindle, many Crypt Keepers and even some virtues prefer a stasis sleep. This is frowned upon by authority. This is frowned upon by authority, though has yet to be officially phased out. There have never been a double-digit number of Crypt Keepers, even as CAIN expanded to the global theater. Most often, 2 to 3 will occupy a location to ensure they can maintain any preserved virtues. They rarely exceed Cat 3. They rarely exceed Cat 3, instead devoting all of their psychic energy to virtue preservation. Most often, 2 to 3 will occupy a location Most often, 2 to 3 will occupy a location, either a black site or seraph. They rarely exceed Cat 3, instead devoting all of their psychic energy to virtue preservation. The Crypt Keepers could also preserve each other. They could, though the issue with that is that, okay, we have like 2 Crypt Keepers on location. We also are freezing Prudence, right? We need 1 person a day to freeze Prudence. What happens if Beluga and Licorice are the 2 Crypt Keepers on site, and Licorice, you're freezing Beluga also? What happens if like Licorice, you get sick or you die or like you are just like have a mental break because you're alone or whatever? Not only will Beluga wake up, also so will Prudence early. And so you want it to be at least 2 people on site. It's hard for me to hear the term Crypt Keeper in a serious context, so I keep waiting for it to be said in a scrangly voice with a dropped R at the end. Me when I'm in a flux sleep, then the spindle malfunctions and I die. The Crypt Keepers being told that they need to use flux, like developers being told they need to use AI, basically. Like that's how they feel. So how virtues are different. How are virtues different? In virtues, as depicted in canon, are high cat. Do I need this preamble? How virtues are different. Virtues are still exorcists. They range from Cat 5 to Cat 6, with some even approaching the never before seen Cat 7. Is this... Do I have to like... The never before seen... some even approaching Cat 7. I wonder who's the guy responsible for the naming conventions. I mean, so Tom Bloom. That's the real answer. Like the out of game answer is like Tom Bloom came up with that, and so. So question. Since this is like, I like Crypt Keepers. Does anyone know what like? Any of you who are more religious than me, the people that like saw Jesus's cave when he emerged, I feel like because of the Catholic imagery here, it would make sense to tie it in to Jesus's resurrection. So does anyone like was that Roman soldiers? Was that the disciples? Like I don't know enough about like Catholic theology. Are they disciples? So like, should I call them disciples? Because I feel like it would make sense fitting the Catholic naming scheme. The 12 apostles? I think Fortitude is close to exceeding Cat 7. Okay, so the thing with Fortitude, I have asked this so many times, I get a different answer every time I ask it. Every time I ask it, I get a different answer. Deemed reserve calamity level weapon, and one of the only exorcists in history deemed close to exceeding Cat 7 in their abilities. Exceeding Cat 7 in their abilities. That means they're nearly Cat 8 in their abilities. Sounds like they are Cat 7 about hit Cat 8, right? Strength. You can push any physical action to Cat +2. Does that mean they are cat 5, nearly cat 6, where they are cat 5 plus 2 is 7, nearly cat 8, which is 6 plus 2, or are they cat 7, nearly cat 8, and their maximum ability is cat 9, nearly cat 10? That's an answer I don't have. In my setting, I'm operating off the assumption they are cat 5, and their ability increases them to cat 7. Maybe witnesses could work? The women who came with the good smelling stuff? Listen, I'm religious, but I'm not religious in English. That's fair. It was Mary, Veronica, and Mary Magdalena? Maybe witnesses? 2 of the apostles and Jesus' aunt didn't see Jesus leaving the crypt, but they're the first ones to see the crypt open? I mean, like, it could just be crypt keepers. It could be the Lazarites, right? If it's kind of like a death rebirth thing. Does it? It's been ages since I read this one. These exos are cat 6 or above. Got it. So that would imply that fortitude is cat 7, nearly cat 8. Understood. I am going to roll that back. So this is a supplement. This is a setting supplement of my interpretation of CAIN. I think I'm going to roll that down to like their cat 5, their cat 6. And you might say, wow, that's underpowered. An actual player character can be cat 5. Yes, they can. So I'm going to say that they're a bit underpowered. The aunties. So like, I mean, it could be like the Lazarites. It could be the witnesses. I like crypt keepers. So virtues are still exorcist. They range from cat 5 to cat 6, with some even approaching cat 7. But they still suffer sin marks, sin overflow, and the crushing expectations of CAIN. To become a virtue requires a number of conditions to already be met. And what are we feeling here? Cat 5. The sarcophages? The sarcophages? Maybe. I'm seeing like tomb keepers, particularly given the Yu-Gi-Oh video I just made recently. I think that'd be funny. What's the difference between a blasphemy and a defiance? Vampire the Masquerade reference. So a blasphemy in CAIN are the psychic powers you have access to. A defiance, I don't know what you're talking about. They must be cat 5 or higher. Sounds like special grade in JJK. Sure. I don't watch JJK, so okay, let's go for it. What are the conditions to be a virtue? You must be cat 5 or higher. 3. You must be referred by 3 virtues, where justice counts as 2. Right? Because I feel like CAIN knows justice like would never allow anyone to become a virtue unless they were like 100% sure. CAIN and JJK, if the higher ups were actually doing their job and closely managing sorcerers, you must be referred by 3 virtues to the board, where justice counts as 2. You must be. What if I just say they must be referred by 3 virtues to the board, or by justice? All I'm saying is fortitude shouldn't count for the referral. They must be referred by 3 virtues to... so, okay, wait. So, if I do... Note. Different virtues hold varying status within CAIN. As such, justice can... a referral from justice can... different virtues hold varying levels of trust within CAIN. A referral from justice counts as a referral from justice waives the need for confirmation for referrals from other virtues. A referral from fortitude counts for nothing. Right? Oh, show's over. Everyone goes, oh, sorry. Okay, what if I have like 5 more minutes to just finish up how virtues are different? Justice counts as 2, scans better. Yeah. I like the idea of a referral from justice waives the need for referrals from other virtues. A referral from fortitude does not count. Go Arrow, be free. I need to be free, but I need to finish this first. So they must be Cat 5 or higher. What else is there? They must have slain a Cat 6 or higher sin. They must have executed. Right, because like you advance in Cat by executing sins, but I do think that they need you to have like been awesome enough to kill something. I check out a bit. How did the homebrewing go? We just started homebrewing and I need to go. If you get fortitude for you, your strength is all but certainly virtue worthy. Yeah, but your trustworthy isn't. Like your trustworthiness isn't. Different virtues hold varying levels of trust within CAIN. Referral from justice waives the need for referrals from other virtues. Referral from fortitude does not count. I like that as a note. Marks them for capital punishment. A referral from fortitude increases scrutiny of the application. Increases scrutiny of the applicant. Can you like not just not do your responsibility and stay here for 6 hours? I can, but I have like a lot of stuff to do. So unless you don't want the girlfriend video on Sunday, I can't stay here. Becoming virtue comes to already be met. They must be Cat 5 or higher. They must have executed a Cat 6 or higher. They must be referred by 3 virtues to the board. What are we... Go Arrow, girlfriend needs you. Execution of a perfect. Exceptions apply for execution of a Cat 5 perfect sin. What's another week to me, Arrow? I can wait. No, but it has to be first week of Pride Month. So they must have be Cat 5 or higher. They must have executed a Cat 6 or higher sin. Exceptions apply for execution of a Cat 5 perfect sin. They must have be referred by 3 virtues to the board. So what are we hitting on here? They need to be competent. They need to be exceptional, and they need to be trustworthy. What's another thing to indicate trustworthiness, right? I think immaculate defiance of heaven would be fantastic for a virtue. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, original. That's perfect. Must have manifested a unique blasphemy or mutation, because I want to add rules here for making your own high blasphemy. That's something I want to do. A unique blasphemy or mutation. I think becoming a virtue. It is not the applicant's decision on whether or not they apply. The decision is made by a site director, by their site director, a bonded virtue, and or a member of the board who they caught the attention of. Rejection is not an option. Refusal is not an option. I like the idea that like you're voluntold. I like the idea it's like, oh, if you were like Cat 5 or higher, if you executed Cat 6 sin, if you've been referred to by 3 blasphemies, if you've manifested unique blasphemy, congrats, you're a virtue now. No, you don't get a choice. Refusal is not an option. Refusal is not an option. Retirement is off the table until the stain is wiped away. So, and finish this fast enough. You could give Hattie of high blasphemy for this final snake fight. I don't know about that. What if justice trains all the people he's bonded with to become virtues? No, and so something about my setting. There's a place called Site Gamma, where if you go Gamma, you can join Site Gamma, and you get a bunch of different benefits, but also it's really hard. And Site Gamma, you have to be at least Cat 4 or higher, and it is effectively boot camp for becoming a virtue. At Site Gamma, you're either going to retire and buy your pieces of silver, you're going to become a virtue, or you're going to die. Those are like the only options once you go Gamma. And the assumption everyone wants to go for is, I want to join Gamma and then I want to retire. However, if you're too good, sucks. Are exos with a unique blasphemy given exception? Nope. Nope. A unique blasphemy or mutation. It is not the director's decision on whether or not to apply, on whether or not they apply. The decision is made by their site director, a bonded exo, a bonded virtue, and or a member of the board who they caught the attention of. Refusal is not an option. Retirement is off the table until the stain is wiped away. Yeah. I think these are reasonable expectations of becoming a virtue, because you have to be Cat 5 or higher. It's not just not everyone can do it. Literally only the best of the best can do it. They must have executed a sin of a Cat 6 or higher. Exceptions apply for execution of a Cat 5 perfect sin. That's like, you have to have done something insane, incredible, amazing. They must be referred by 3 virtues. You are not going to get referred by 3 virtues unless CAIN implicitly trusts you. Unless the virtues like you, and you have no way of getting the charities and faith and prudence to all like you unless you are trustworthy and loyal, right? That's just not happening. And then you must have manifested a unique blasphemy or mutation, which is why you are a virtue, which is why you can become a virtue. And and then you're voluntold, and then it just happens. So there are virtues who had to go the hard way. I wonder if there's a form of inside stigma, or is a casual banter over virtues who didn't want to go virtue. What if a virtue gets a sin mark? This has come up in my game. In my game, it is canon that all virtues have sin marks except for faith and justice. Every single virtue in my game has sin marks, and faith doesn't have them because no grace. Like, she physically can't have them. And justice doesn't have them because the laws of reality rewrite around justice, and justice is so dogmatic that he physically cannot, like, allow that to happen. He will, like, instinctively rewrite reality in order to stop that from happening, because until the stain must be wiped away, right? Everyone else, though, has tons of sin marks. The one with the most sin marks, I think I said, was the charities. Because every single time a new charity gets added, they get all of the sin marks of this new person. The one at the second most is fortitude. And Faith was explaining this to the characters, and I was just like, hey, have you ever wondered why you've only ever seen fortitude with a mask on? The face is covered, like the head is covered in sin marks. It's a bunch of different stuff. And so I like the idea that even though gammas are not allowed to have sin marks, virtues are totally allowed to have sin marks. What happens if you get a sin mark in gamma? You are kicked out. You are kicked out of gamma. This reminds me of the seal designation from Fate. If you got a unique magic, the Mages Association kidnap you and keep as a brain in a jar. Oh my gosh. Hi, you're a virtue now. Welcome to the Gilded Cage. The bars are closer to each other than they seem. Yeah. Refusal is not an option. Retirement is off the table until the stain is wiped away. Why would Faith say that? Very mean. Well, no. So Faith, like they were asking about sin marks, and they were asking like, hey, like, do any virtues have sin marks? And then Faith was like, oh, yeah, they plenty do. Like, I don't, and I think Justice doesn't, because Justice would never let that happen. But yeah, absolutely. And then explained that. And then everyone was like, because this was like after multiple sessions of being like, I want to go gamma. I want to go gamma's the endpoint. I need to go gamma, but I can't get a sin mark if I go gamma. And so, like, doesn't matter if you have a sin mark. You're a virtue at that point. You're fine. Okay. Becoming a virtue. I think this would actually be a heading 3, where this would be normal text, and then the most common means of becoming a virtue involves inheriting the title from a fallen exorcist. Didn't you say 10 minutes? Yeah, but like that was like 15 minutes ago, so I'm already past the time. Virtues involve inheriting the title from a fallen exorcist. This requires the aspirant exorcist to have a full bond with the virtue. I think, note, due to the psychic requirements of passing on the true power of a high blasphemy being tied to socialization and bonds, all virtues are required to bond with a certain amount of XOs exceeding cat 3. Right, due to the psychic requirements of passing on the true power of a high blasphemy being tied to socialization and bonds, all virtues are required to bond with a quota of exos cat 3 or higher. All relationships are to remain within professional standards. Right. Please think of the lesbians. Oh, right, lesbians. Well, over time, what would happen if virtue went rogue? A lot of bad stuff would happen. I also think that call me crazy, I think it would never happen. I don't even think fortitude would go rogue, because I think that in order to become a virtue, it's kind of like the idea where you ever have someone who they're just like, oh yeah, I want to join the system and fix it from the inside. And then they can't fix the system until they're at the top of the system. And then by that point, they've spent like 10 years inside the system and they've like basically completely changed as a person, and they've done a ton of horrible things. And no matter what they want to do at the top of the system, now they recognize that like that won't fix anything. I think virtues are similar, where you can't become a virtue unless you are the sort of person where you recognize that CAIN is not a good option, but it's certainly not the worst option. It's certainly better than under heaven and binders and sins running around. And so I think most, if not all, virtues feel trapped in CAIN. Right? And I think even like fortitude, who you would assume would be the least stable, recognizes that. Yeah, due to the psychic requirements of passing on the true power of a high blasphemy being tied to socialization and bonds, all virtues are required to bond with a quota of exos cat 3 or higher. All relationships are remain within professional guidelines. I bet CAIN would have contingencies upon contingencies for situations where the virtues go rogue. Yeah. Girlfriend slides off arrow like Sinmark sliding off justice. They find something to save people but get corrupted by the thing. Temerity's working on contingencies for if justice figures out. Yeah, absolutely. The most common means of becoming a virtue involves inheriting the title from a fallen exorcist. This relative commonality does not mean it happens often. Let me just say that. The most common means of becoming virtue involves inheriting the title from a fallen exorcist. This requires the aspirant to have a full bond with the virtue, and a psychological understanding of their profile, and a genuine understanding of their psychology. This requires the aspirant exorcist to have a full bond with the virtue and a genuine understanding of their psychology. Upon the virtue's expiration, their high blasphemy will attempt to latch on to whichever bonded exorcist is closest. Except for Charity. Yeah. I mean, I might have to have a thing about Charity. So the most common means of becoming a virtue involves inheriting the title from a fallen exorcist. This from one fallen. This requires the aspirant exorcist to have a full bond with the virtue and a genuine understanding of their psychology. Upon the virtue's expiration, their high blasphemy will attempt to latch on to whichever bonded exorcist is closest. This is instinctive and seems to have no... The mechanics behind this are misunderstood. At best, are the mechanics behind this are ambiguous at best and misunderstood by even high-ranking temerity officials, leading many rumors to crop up around high blasphemies, leading leading many rumors to crop up around high blasphemies being sentient. These rumors are unfounded. And then I think what we do here. Once an exorcist gains the high blasphemy of... Okay, wait. So, this requires the aspirant to have a full bond with a virtue, be of, I think, Cat 5 or higher, and have a genuine understanding of the virtue's psychology. Upon the virtue's expiration, it will have to last on to whichever aspirant exorcist is closest. The mechanics behind this are ambiguous at best and misunderstood by even high-ranking Trinity officials, leading many rumors to crop up around high blasphemies being sentient. These rumors... If high blasphemies other than Veil are capable of being transferred on death, does that mean freezing virtues just to maintain the ones they see as trustworthy? Basically. And I think I might end up changing this. I might end up making it, instead of it, like it latches onto you, I think it might be, this does not mean it happens often. This relative commonality does not mean it happens often due to the resilient nature of virtues, due to the competency of virtues. Should no aspirant exorcist meet the requirements, the high blasphemy fades permanently. Okay, so just a lot down to whichever aspirant exorcist is closest. Whichever bonded exorcist is closest. If that exorcist does not meet the requirements... Okay, wait. If that exorcist does not meet the requirements, they are infused with grace and overwhelmed, immediately succumbing to sin overflow as the high blasphemy jumps to the next closest exorcist, applicable, next closest bonded exorcist. So how about this? How about where it's, if a virtue dies, its high blasphemy jumps to the nearest bonded exorcist. If they have a full bond, and they are Cat 5 or higher, and they have a genuine understanding of the virtue psychology, they gain that high blasphemy. And if not, they go into sin overflow immediately and it jumps to someone else. So now it's a situation where if Prudence is about to die, and I'm bonded with Prudence, but I'm like Cat 3, if Prudence dies, Shake is going to come over to me. I am going to sin overflow, and then Shake is going to jump to someone else. And then they're going to sin overflow. It's going to jump to someone else, and they're going to sin overflow until it hits someone that's Cat 5 or higher. Due to the requirements of passing on the due to the requirements of passing on a true due to the danger inherent to a high blasphemy unable to immediately find a new host. Do I make it Cat 4 or higher? Do I make it Cat 4 or higher? The aspirant extras have a full bond be of Cat 4 or higher. Because Cat 4 is kind of like, you're a black coat. You are, like, you're a gamma. You're fully bonded with Charity. But you're not at the point where, like, you are a virtue. Hi, Pink. Bye, Pink. From my standpoint as a writer, CAIN seems to represent toxic systems perpetuating themselves despite also perpetuating the conditions. Yeah. So in that light, virtues choosing CAIN over revolution represents either delusional belief that CAIN can succeed or fully giving up. I think a lot of them gave up. Cat 4 is probably better, yeah. I think be of Cat 4 or higher and have a genuine understanding. It will latch on, and then due to the danger inherent to the high blasphemy, due to a high blasphemy unable to immediately find a new host, all virtues are required to bond with a quota of exos Cat 4 or higher. All relationships remain within professional guidelines. Right? So it's the idea of if you have a virtue die, the high blasphemy will want to jump on. Should this relative does not mean it happens, does not mean it happens often. Should a virtue die, should a virtue expire without any applicable exorcists, or without any exorcists capable of harnessing their high blasphemy, it will infuse every single exorcist bonded to them. It will induce sin overflow in every single exorcist bonded to them before dissipating permanently. Except for charity. Yeah. Well, so my assumption is charity. If I have two charities, one of them dies. They don't lose entwine. The other one still has entwine, so it just goes back to them. The only known exception to this is charity, where if one charity expires, the other take on the entirety of the high blasphemy. Charities have described this sensation as soul-rending. So this has not been confirmed by temerity. I love the idea of just like, this has not been confirmed. The relative commonality of inheriting a title does not mean it happens often. Should a virtue expire without any exorcist capable of harnessing their high blasphemy, it will induce sin overflow in every single exorcist bonded to them before dissipating permanently. The relative commonality of virtue title inheriting does not mean it happens often. Okay, so we actually did virtue stuff, right? The fact that CAIN needed to specify you can't date a virtue or we will kill you means it happened at least once. What the idea of just like, due to a danger inherent to high blasphemy, unable to immediately find a new host, all virtues are required to bond with a quota of exos Cat 4 or higher. All relationships will remain within professional guidelines. Right, so it's just like, don't date the virtues. So how do I feel about this? Like, tell me honestly. Tell me if you think it's stupid. Tell me if you think it's overpowered. Tell me if you think that it ruins CAIN. Like, how do we feel about if a virtue dies, their high blasphemy wants to continue propagating? So their high blasphemy will latch on, will jump to whoever is closest, the closest exorcist that is bonded to them. And if they are not fully bonded with Cat 4 or higher and have a genuine understanding of the psychology, will sin overflow them and then jump somewhere else. And so this makes like a, hey, we think like absolution might die. We have 13 exos across the world and only only 2 of them are Cat 4 or higher. And the ones that are Cat 4 or higher, one of them is in Vietnam and one of them is in Sydney, Australia. Absolution is currently deployed in California, is currently deployed in like Georgia. This is going to be bad. And so like, I think that's interesting. Imagine being a gamma chilling in your dorm bonded with hope and suddenly you sin overflow because Vale used you as a signal booster to find a suitable XO. Do you at least get severance pay? Nope. Catastrophic chain reaction. I wonder if they keep inheritor candidates close. And that's what I'm thinking. I kind of want to make a note of that somewhere, but I was literally thinking like all virtue deployments, they make sure that there's one fully bonded Cat 4 XO like offsite. It's horrible. Good. Thank you. So virtues are still I need to wrap. I need to be done. I'm not going through this. I'm not done. I'm done. I should probably write out the full potential versions of each high blasphemy to give guidance. Yeah. So what I would do is that I would give my advice on how I would give high, like not the bonded high blasphemies, but like high blasphemy, like true high blasphemies. And I would also give you advice on how to make your own. That's what I mean by saying have manifested a unique blasphemy or have manifested or inherited a unique blasphemy or mutation, right? So I'm going to grab the questions real quick. If you have a question for me, drop it in the Q&A channel right now. I need to be done. I'm not gone yet. I have a couple questions to answer. So if you have questions, shoot me with them. Have I sent an email to Lancer Tactics devs? No, I forgot. I've been thinking about how to do fantasy species by doubling down in biological determinism by making them absolutely not human in psychology and metaphysics opinion. I rock that. My only issue with biological determinism is that what happens is that you get, I'm going to make orcs. Orcs are really good at killing, so I'm going to give them a bunch of killing stuff. And then, because they're really good at killing, their culture is going to be all about killing. And then suddenly, orcs are just the killers. Orcs are just like the killers. They have nothing going on for them. They don't have any culture outside of that. They don't have any niches, any relationships outside of that. Because in biological determinism, that's what that is. Biological determinism is based on their biology that impacts their psychology, their culture, their relationships, their socialization. And that just feels kind of one note and boring to me, which is why with something like Xeneolithic, the TTRPG that I made, I went out of my way to make all of the traits that a species had basically functionally independent from their culture. I wanted to avoid biological determinism. I wanted to avoid having a situation where you have the adrenaline gland species and with their adrenaline gland, they all just focus on killing and murder, right? Because that's boring. So if you want to include biological determinism in something, I would say have them as a culture reckon with what they do, which is why with orcs in my setting, they have a bloodlust, which if they smell non-orcish blood, they go into a blood rage, where it reduces their pain receptors, it increases their adrenaline, it allows them to be stronger, faster, it makes them more tunnel visioned. It doesn't really make them dumb, it just kind of like sends them into like fight or flight. And once they taste non-orcish blood, or once they taste non-orcish blood, they calm down. Once it's on their tongue and soothing as basically a biological vestige of back when they would like chase down prey and they would like injure something, smell blood, chase it down. And it's like, once they taste blood, that means, okay, we got it. We can calm down now. We don't have to be in a blood rage anymore. And so they have a very strong warrior culture. But however, there's also orcs that like take a rag, soak it in blood, and just like chew on it. So, oh no, I'm walking through the world. I'm walking through a city. Some elf cut herself on accident. I have my little like bit, like my leather bit that's soaked in blood. I put it in my mouth. I chew on it. Now I'm tasting blood, even though I'm smelling blood. I go against my blood rage. As an elf, I have super I have super great hearing and smell and feeling and sight. However, that means being in a city sucks for me. I'm overstimulated constantly. So I have like I have like earplugs, nose plugs. I have I have gear to make it so it's less stimulating for me, even though as an elf, it's normally a great advantage that if I'm out in the woods, I can hear an elk moving like a kilometer over, right? And so if you want to go the biological determinism route, I would say don't just make it, here's what they are, here's what they do. How would your average person, like your average human, react to having that and like just try to fix that problem? And then do that. And you want them to be like non-human in physiology and metaphysics. You can still do that. It's just, I feel you will typecast them very easily if you don't go out of your way to add in human problem solving to it. Or killers but outsiders, or killers that respect kills they don't, so much that they don't do if someone isn't worthy. Wait a second. Yeah, they achieve hyper-focus fury. Platonic virtue dating sim where you're an extraordinarily good exo, so multiple virtues try to bond with you at once and it's awkward. That would be fun. Who do I think is the newest virtue? So I assume you mean who, like, which virtue title was added most recently. I don't know. I'm operating off the assumption that once every couple years, maybe once every like other decade, a charity dies. Because they can do that, right? They can die. And then it doesn't ruin anything. I think prudence is new. I like the idea of prudence. Not necessarily, and also charity and veil and hope. They both die very, very regularly. Not regularly, but like once every like other decade, every couple decades, one of them dies. Prudence, I think, is new. I think justice is old, faith is old, fortitude is old. I think absolution is kind of new. I think sobriety is old. And I think chastity is also kind of new. So I think like Harpdos are kind of new ones. That would be my answer. My fanny pack with all my stim toys, earplugs, and blood chew. Should a reminder be sent on suggestions to send an email? Probably. I'm not going to worry about that at least through Sunday. Like, that's something I would not worry about until like Monday, if not later. I think chastity is the newest. I mean, chastity explicitly was like, I have too much grace in my body that if someone touches me, I get sick. Yay, I'm a virtue now. I'm going to hide in space. Woo! And like that kind of has to be new. Although I think there has been a charity that has died since. I think that there has been a hope that has probably died since. Okay, that's all the questions that I have. I am now, because I am a good streamer, I'm a good VTuber, I deserve all of the nice things that happen to me. I'm going to wrap up stream. I'm going to probably eat some food. And I'm going to do my stuff. I'm going to do productivity. I am going to... I'm going to probably record the last bit that I need to record. I'm going to do a thing not related to stream, because I need to get that done. I'm going to edit a short for tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream is also going to be short. And then tomorrow I'm going to be editing. And probably tonight I'm going to be editing. Over half an hour of girls that will never be framed. Such a sad sight. Aww. Because the game and shakes are very new. The floor is lava didn't exist. Oh, really? Good to know. Well, anyway, goodbye. Thank you all so much, very much. Tomorrow will be a short stream over on Twitch. I plan on programming. I might end up playing like a game demo, but generally I'm probably just going to program. Voiceover tomorrow should be simple. Should be able to get that done in like an hour. And then Girl Frame on Sunday. If I don't get it done Sunday, kill me. Literally just like between the eyes. I don't deserve to live at that point. I've been putting this off so long. It's so much work. I'm gonna try doing like the Synthop video where it's mostly just me like talking head. It's mostly just me talking to the camera, and then I have like visual aids to my left and right with like CRTV. You let me know in the Discord how you feel about my different editing styles. I've tried different things. I don't know what you prefer. Please let me know what you prefer for a long form. I could just do it's literally just my model chatting to you occasionally with like overlays. I don't know. Hunter drone activated. Snipers in position. Chihuahua release. No. Bye. Anyway, have a lovely day, night, evening, afternoon, whenever, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.